Recording. Hello again, it's me, Chaz, back with another video. Now we're going to talk about the playoffs matches in the UEFA zone for the 2026 World Cup. A lot of action happened back on Thursday. That would have been the 26th of March this month. We now know all the finals of each path of the World Cup qualifiers in the UEFA zone. I was actually in Wales to watch the match between Wales and Bosnia and Herzegovina. That match took place in the Cardiff City Stadium where Cardiff plays. Brilliant match. First time I've actually been to Wales as well. Yeah, I don't know. Say brilliant might be going over the top, but great atmosphere from both sets of fans. I would say the away team, though, Bosnia Herzegovina, probably a lot more lively, but great set of fans, both teams. I'll discuss that game in a little more detail. Do you know what? No, I'm going to start off from there. Start off with Path A first, of course. Wales took on Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Italy took on Northern Ireland. The two teams that won their matches will then go on to play each other this week. Should be tomorrow. By the time I upload this, should be. Yeah, the match should be tomorrow on Tuesday, the 31st of March. All right, so Wales versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. There was no goals in the first half. Wales did hit the crossbar one time in the first half, though, and I would say first half they were definitely the better team, had chances. Second half, though, Wales do take the lead. James scores in the 51st minute. He's actually the one that scored Wales's first goal during this World Cup qualifying campaign, scoring against Kazakhstan in their 3-1 win. He also scored in their last game in the table when they beat North Macedonia 7-1. So this is his third World Cup qualifying goal of this campaign. Great start. Late on from a corner from Albigovic, Eden Jekov, the corner, good header. With that said, I thought Wales was falling asleep. They fell asleep a few times before that, and in a way, that equaliser definitely was coming. So the match in 90 minutes ended 1-1. Again, that would mean extra time. Extra time, I will still say Wales may have had the edge. But just before extra time, Bosnia was definitely attacking a little bit more. Could have got themselves a winner. But yes, extra time, still evenish, but I would still give it to Wales. No goals in extra time. Match ends up in penalties. The first penalty was missed. I actually missed it myself. I failed to record. Demoravic missed the penalty, missed the Bosnia and Herzegovina's first penalty. So the advantage was for Wales, but they would miss two back-to-back penalties. Johnson, which a very bad penalty, and then Williams' penalty as well was saved. Left it for the corner take. Albegovic, he would score the penalty, and Bosnia and Herzegovina go through. Wales had some chances to, go through, miss them, and like I said, fell asleep towards the end of the first 90 minutes. But Bosnia, their crowd were lively throughout the whole match. Definitely the players fed from that and, did well. They got a tough match, though. They're going up against Italy. I'm going to speak how Italy qualified in a bit. With that said, though, Bosnia will have the home advantage. Despite Wales not qualifying, Cardiff, great city, and I hope to go there again soon. All right, so we have the next semi-final. The match was between Italy and Northern Ireland. That match ended in a 2-0 win for Italy over Northern Ireland. That said, the two goals scored were scored in the second half, though. In the 56th minute, Tonelli would score his believe his third World Cup qualifying goal of this campaign. He did score the winner against Israel in Italy's 5-4 win over them back in September last year. And in the 80th minute, Keane will double Italy's lead. He had quite a few goals in the group stage for Italy, got a couple against Estonia. Also scored in that 5-4 win over Israel as well. So yeah, he's building up a lot of goals. But again, that's two goals for Italy. Also, Tonelli did assist for Keane's goal as well. Italy had the home advantage there. They were playing in the New Balance Arena, which Alantia plays their games, their home matches. And in Path A, we have Italy versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. The last time both of these nations actually did qualify for the World Cup was 2014 back in Brazil. That was Bosnia's and Herzegovina's first time they've ever qualified for the World Cup as an independent nation. Again, as I mentioned, Bosnia and Herzegovina will have the home advantage, playing in a Bilino plug stadium where Selik Zinica plays their home games at. It's unfortunate that both home nations, Northern Ireland, who again haven't qualified for the World Cup since the 80s, and Wales missing out on another World Cup. They did qualify back in 2022, the last World Cup. Would have been good to see them, finally build up a streak. But unfortunate for them, they lost their match. I did say Italy would most likely qualify through Path A. Still firmly believe they will qualify, but definitely Bosnia's definitely going to, have making me think. But I'm still going to go with Italy winning it. All right, let's move on to Path B. Ukraine took on Sweden and Poland went up against Albania. So the match between Ukraine and Sweden took place in Spain in the Estadi Ciudad de Valencia. This is the home of Levante. I was quite surprised about this result, considering how poor Sweden did play during the group stage of the 2026 World Cup qualifying campaign in the UEFA zone. That said, great win for them. Gyökeres with a hat trick, scoring in the 6th, the 51st, and a 73rd minute penalty. He will join other Swedish players that have scored World Cup qualifying hat tricks, such as Carl Witterstrom, who scored Sweden's first ever World Cup qualifying hat trick back in the 1938 qualifying round, as well as Carl Palmer, who scored in the 1950 qualifying rounds as well. Ukraine did get a goal back late on in the 90th minute. Ponomarenko scored for Ukraine to make it 3-1. This obviously wasn't enough, and Sweden get another chance to qualify for the World Cup. Good win. If they pick it up steam now, this is the best time for them to, again, because of their performance during the last Nations League. This is why Sweden has been given another chance. Unfortunately for Ukraine, this is another World Cup that they haven't qualified for. The only World Cup they did qualify for was back in 2006, where they did really well for their first tournament to reach the quarterfinals. All right, so they will go up against Poland because Poland defeated Albania 2-1, playing in the Narodowy Stadium in Warsaw. Poland picks up a 2-1 win. That said, Albania were leading in the 42nd minute. Abba Hoxhaf gave Albania the lead, but in the second half, who else but Lewandowski scored in the 63rd minute to make it 1-1. This would be his I think fifth and World Cup qualifying goal of this campaign. Brilliant. Zelensky, 10 minutes later, the 73rd minute, will give Poland the lead and the win. Yeah, so we're looking at a Poland Sweden match for Path B. All right, so in the first half, then, in Path A, Bosnia and Herzegovina will go up against Italy. First time these two took on each other was back in 1996 when Bosnia and Herzegovina was an independent nation. That was in a friendly. Bosnia and Herzegovina won 2-1. But their first competitive match was over in the 2020 Euros qualifying campaign, which Italy did go on and eventually win that tournament. Italy won both of those qualifying matches. They would meet again in the Nation League, where they would draw, but Italy would win the next one. And the last time these two nations did meet was a friendly back in 2024, where Italy again did win that. So Italy do have gotten the best, over Bosnia for the last couple of times they've played each other. Again, you have to go back to the 90s to see when Bosnia and Herzegovina had a win over Italy. Again, it should be a really good game. And with, Bosnia having that home advantage, maybe we'll see. Okay, and in Path B, again, we have Sweden against Poland. Sweden will have home advantage. They'll be playing in a national arena in Slolan, Sweden. There is a lot of history between these two nations at the World Cup and football in general. But from the 1920s to the 60s, they only competed in friendlies. The first time they did have a major match or a competitive match was back in 1974, the 1974 World Cup, which was held by West Germany at the time, Germany. Poland beat Sweden in the second group phase. That was a 1-0 win for Poland. Poland ended up being third at the 1974 World Cup. They would meet again in the 1990 World Cup qualifiers, where Sweden won both times. They will meet in the Euros qualifiers for the 2000s Euros, where once again Sweden won both of those matches. And again in 2004 Euros, they competed where Sweden did win, got the better of them. So overall, Sweden's won most of these encounters, especially I should say when it's big, when it's competitive matches. With that said, these two nations did meet up the exact same place, World Cup UEFA playoffs back in 2022. Poland did win that game. So, the last competitive match, we have Poland having the best over Sweden. They beat them 2-0. This is going to be a hard one to call. Really going to be a hard one to call. I mean, originally I had Ukraine having the Ukraine-Poland final for Path B, but I'm still going to stick with Poland. So I'm going to go with Poland qualifying. All right, going to move on to Path C. So in Path C, we have Turkey going up against Romania and Slovakia taking on Kosovo. So both Turkey 2002 and Romania 1998. That's the last time those two nations have qualified for a World Cup. Turkey had the home advantage, the match taking place in Besiktas ground. The first and only goal came in the 53rd minute for Turkey. Ferdi Kadayoglu scored the winner for Turkey, helping them get through to the next round, get through to the finals. Good win there for Turkey. Getting unlucky from Romania. It's been a while. Haven't qualified for the World Cup in this century. All right, now we're going to talk about the game that had the most goals in the UEFA World Cup qualifying playoffs at this stage, anyway. That was the match between Slovakia and Kosovo, which ended in a 4-3 win to the away team, Kosovo. Martin Vlajent in the 6th minute did give Slovakia the lead. However, Hodsau in the 21st minute would make it 1-1. Just before the end of this first half, Slovakia went back into the lead. Haras Lin would make it 2-1 Slovakia. Then, just a few minutes into the second half, Aslanin would equalise for Kosovo. And then in the 60th minute, on the hour mark, Kosovo will go into the lead. Musliga will score 3-2. And then, in the 72nd minute, Hadrizi for Kosovo would make it 4-2. 4 minutes in injury time, Slovakia will pull a goal back thanks to David Sturrock. But it wasn't enough. Kosovo will now move on to the final and will take on Turkey. Kosovo will have home advantage in the Fadil Vauxhall Stadium in Pristina. Yes, I think I got that right. I'm really liking this final between Kosovo and Turkey. You could have Turkey returning back to the World Cup for a long time since 2002. But we also have the chance for Kosovo to qualify for the World Cup for the first time in their history as an independent nation. This is looking really interesting. There's a chance we could see both Bosnia and Herzegovina, as well as Kosovo, both qualifying for the World Cup. And Croatia's already qualified themselves as well. I might have to read into this if that's happened before. If I haven't mentioned before, the three nations that I did just mention were all former part of Yugoslavia. But yeah, Kosovo, Turkey final for Path C. Just a small bit of history between Kosovo and Turkey during international football. On 3 occasions, these nations played. On all 3 occasions, though, Kosovo did lose, including 2 times during the 2018 World Cup qualifying campaign. So if any time Kosovo needs to win against Turkey, it's now to at least get their first ever win over them. We'll see what happens tomorrow, right? And we're going to move on to the final path. That is Path D, where Denmark took on North Macedonia. Again, North Macedonia is also another nation that did make up part of Yugoslavia. Czech Republic, or Czechia, took on Ireland. Start with the Denmark game between them and North Macedonia. That ended in a dominant win for Denmark here. Oh, well, at least in the second half, Denmark won 4-0. All 4 goals coming in the second half. First goal in the 49th minute from Damsgaard scored. This will be now his 3rd goal for Denmark during this World Cup qualifying campaign. He went on and assisted Isaacson in the 58th minute. Isaacson would score again in the 59th minute to make it 3-0. And Norgard in the 75th minute would then make it 4-0 for Denmark. Second half looks comfortable win there, which I did kind of predict already. And yeah, They'll now take on Czechia. Czechia came from 2 goals down to beat Ireland on penalties. Parrott continues his scoring ways for Ireland. Scored in the 90th minute was a penalty, and then an own goal in the 23rd minute from Kovra doubled the Republic of Ireland's lead. However, Czechia got a penalty themselves in the 27th minute. Shishkik pulled a goal back for Czechia. And then late on, though, so the first 3 goals I mentioned were scored in the first half. Late on in the second half, the 86th minute, Ladislav Kirji would equalise for Czechia to take the game to extra time. No further goals were scored in extra time, which meant this match would go on to penalties. When it came to the third penalties, Til for Czechia missed, which then gave the advantage to Ireland. Ireland failed to capitalise on this. Azaz would miss, while Shishkik, who did score one of Czechia's goals for them to have the comeback, would equal it, all squared. Then Brown would also miss. Clement would score the winning penalties for Czechia, and they'll go through. And now that set up a final between Czechia and Denmark. Czechia will have home advantage in the Letnar Stadium. There is quite a bit of history between Czechia and Denmark. A lot with the Euros, the first 2 Euros to take place in this century, the Euros in 2000 and in 2004. Czechia did beat Denmark in both of them, knocking them out in both tournaments, in the group stage and quarterfinals. In the 2002 World Cup qualifiers, though, Denmark did have the better over Czechia then, drawing one game but winning the other. They did that again in 2014 World Cup qualifying campaign. And during the last Euros, during Euros 2021, I should say, Denmark did beat Czechia in the quarterfinals. So the advantage these days is definitely more for Denmark. Well, it could be, but again, I'm expecting another close game between these two. So just have another check again. So in Path A, the Path A final is Bosnia and Herzegovina against Italy. In Path B, Sweden take on Poland. In Path C, we have Kosovo up against Turkey. And finally, in Path D, we have Czechia against Denmark. I hope I can upload this today. If I can't, then hopefully tomorrow. Definitely before these matches take place. So again, thanks for watching. Appreciate it as usual. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And stay safe. And once again, bye for now.